Hi, I'm Linda Gadsby, and I'm ILR class of 1988. I believe that alumni engagement plays a critical role in the student experience and can actually be a differentiator when students are selecting colleges for the colleges that do it really well. Alumni can help students figure out ways to get more engaged on campus and take advantage of all that Cornell has to offer, and can also inspire them to think about how they may want to be engaged when they reach the alumni ranks. I've been involved as an alumna for over 20 years, and I go back to campus often, and whenever I talk to students, they always ask the same question, which is, why do you stay involved? Why do you come back year after year? And my answer is always the same. It's because of you. I'm interested in engaging with students and helping them to navigate their way through Cornell, but even more importantly, to help them navigate those early years after graduating from Cornell when they are just entering the workforce or in graduate school. When I was an undergrad, I didn't have a lot of opportunities to engage with alumni. They just weren't there outside of the interviewing context. And so I take very seriously my role in giving back to provide a vehicle for students to have that engagement with alumni. I think oftentimes students don't understand that alumni are really interested in their experience and really interested in helping them navigate some of the challenges that they may have. I helped Cornell create a formal mentoring program for underrepresented students a number of years ago. And so I know a bit about how to create those programs. And as a participant in the program, I also know some of the ways that you can help structure it so that it's successful. I would love to see more formal mentoring programs at Cornell across colleges because I think that's an important way to bridge the gap between alumni and students. Having said that, I also realize that informal mentoring relationships are equally important. I've had a number of those, and those have actually been some of my most fruitful relationships. The benefit of the informal mentoring relationships is that it doesn't take the same level of time commitment that the formal programs do, and so you're actually able to get many more connections between alumni and student than you would with a formal mentoring program. So I would like to see that incorporated into the discussion of how to engage more with alumni and students. Lastly, I think we have an untapped opportunity to focus on students who are studying abroad or in other U.S. cities, or who may be doing internships and externships in cities that are not their own, to get alumni in those areas to engage with students. I would love to talk to the Board of Trustees about these ideas and some others and help utilize my experience and expertise in this area to foster more connections between students and alumni, because I think that's critically important and I think it can be a differentiator for Cornell. So I've served as the alumni leader for over 20 years, and I think that it has prepared me to serve in the role of trustee in a number of key ways. First, it's provided me with the opportunity to meet a broad and diverse array of alumni that I certainly didn't meet when I was an undergraduate student and probably would never have met absent my work as an alumni volunteer. These relationships are critically important because they will provide me with a sounding board and input for ideas as I work as a trustee, if elected, to tackle some of the big issues that are facing students and the university at large. The other way that my service has prepared me for this role is by giving me the opportunity to manage large groups of people from diverse backgrounds and diverse perspectives. Particularly in my work chairing the President's Council of Cornell Women, I led a large steering committee of highly accomplished alumna from various business backgrounds and also cross-generational. And so making sure that everyone was fully engaged, that their voices were heard and valued, and that we remained mission focused gave me a great learning opportunity. And I think that the skills that I learned in that role will help me tremendously in my role as a trustee. In addition, while working with PCCW, I think we focused on some of the key issues that are of importance to the trustees today. We increased our engagement with students and young alumni. We focused on fundraising for key initiatives, and so we raised a significant amount of money to support the Gannett Health Center. And we also worked on general re-engagement of alumni with Cornell. And so I think my focus on those areas with PCCW will also be instructive as I work with the Board of Trustees, again, if elected. I've also worked with New York University School of Law, where I went to law school, both on the Law Alumni Association Board and with their Alumni Association of Color Board. And particularly, I worked on strategies around engagement and re-engagement of alumni, along with recognition programs for alumni, both of which I think are critically important and would be useful for me to share my experiences and lessons learned with the Board of Trustees in these areas as we continue to increase the breadth of our alumni engagement. So one of the things that's always been unique about Cornell to me and that I love about the university is Ezra Cornell's foresight with respect to that core principle of any person, any study, and also Cornell's commitment to making that principle a reality. I think over the years, Cornell has maintained its commitment to that principle, even while sometimes struggling to make the promise a reality for those students who needed it most. And that struggle was reflective of the struggles going on in the broader society. As an African American woman of immigrant parents who grew up in the Bronx, New York, I consider myself to be an example of the promise made real. So while I believe Cornell definitely has a commitment to maintaining diversity and making sure that the university remains reflective of the world at large, and that includes both race and gender, but also today a much broader array of characteristics, including religious diversity, economic status diversity, LGBTQ students, and just a much broader array of issues than when the core principle was initially thought of, which was primarily focused on African Americans and women. So in light of that, I think Cornell has done really well with diversity generally, but one area that I think that we need to put more strategic focus on is the issue of inclusion. And what I mean by that is making sure that the promise is truly real for students who are on campus, and that all students feel like Cornell is truly theirs, that they are valued, that their experience is valued, that their difference is valued, that the university is committed to introspection and continually looking to better itself and to make strides in this area, that the campus community is truly engaged in recognizing difference and learning about differences. That will go a long way toward making sure that everyone who's on campus feels that the university is truly their university, and that promise of any student, any study can become truly a reality for every student that's on campus. This is what I want for my Cornell, and I know that we can get there. I've worked on these issues with an organization in my community called the South Orange Maplewood Community Coalition on Race, and would love to share the strategies that we employed and lessons learned in the area of inclusion.